Story number 1. Highway Phantom, Shadows of Route 66. It was late July in 2001 when the first reports began trickling in. They came from a particularly lonesome stretch of Route 66, which cuts through one of the many forgotten suburbs of the United States. By the end of the summer, this road would forever haunt the dreams of those who dared to tread upon it. I was a 27-year-old journalist at the time, working for a local newspaper. My beat was human interest stories, but when our crime reporter took sick, my editor handed me the file on the Highway Phantoms. He called it the Ghost Hitchhiker story. There had been 8 cases by that point. Truckers, primarily, reported a chilling experience. They'd see a figure on the side of the road, always a young person under 30, either a girl with auburn hair wearing a tattered white dress or a guy in jeans and a leather jacket. These spectral passengers would be picked up, often out of pity, and soon after, they would share a tragic tale of a deadly accident or a devil worship ritual gone wrong. And then, as the trucks approached a particular bend, they'd vanish, leaving behind only a piercing cold and the lingering scent of burnt wood. Determined to get to the bottom of it, I teamed up with Sophia, a budding paranormal investigator, and Tyler, a tech geek with a penchant for recording equipment. Together, we spent countless nights parked on the side of that haunted highway stretch. One evening, as the radio played an old 80s ballad, Sophia's eyes darted to the rearview mirror. "Someone's there," she whispered. In the soft moonlight, we saw a figure, the girl in the white dress. We quickly opened the car doors and she climbed in, her eyes vacant. She introduced herself as Mara and told us about a cult that used to operate in the area, the Followers of Baphomet. They were said to have dabbled in sinister rites and sacrificed young people in hopes of summoning the devil himself. As she spoke, an icy wind enveloped the car. I turned to ask her another question, but she was gone. We researched this Followers of Baphomet group and discovered dark truths. There had indeed been mysterious disappearances in the late 70s and early 80s, all of young people under 30. The police had made a series of arrests but were unable to find solid evidence against the accused, and the case went cold. With this revelation, we decided to hold a seance at the notorious bend in the highway. Using Tyler's equipment, we made contact with not one, but several spirits, all victims of the cult's unspeakable acts. The spirits shared their chilling tales. Some had been lured by false promises, while others had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. But they all met the same grim fate. Driven by a newfound purpose, we collaborated with local authorities, unearthing forgotten records and diaries. A breakthrough came when Sophia found a diary belonging to one of the cult leaders. It had detailed accounts of the rituals, the sacrifices, and the aftermath. The entries spoke of how they believed they had gained immense powers from their dark deeds, but in the end, were consumed by guilt, leading to a mass suicide pact. As the dark history of the suburb unraveled, the haunting became more intense. There were reports of loud screams echoing through the night, flickering lights, and even apparitions appearing in broad daylight. But then, as suddenly as they began, the haunting stopped. It was as if unearthing the truth had set the restless spirits free. For years, I drove past that haunted stretch without incident, until one fateful evening. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the road. As I approached the bend, there she was, the girl in the white dress. But this time, she wasn't alone. Beside her stood the young man in the leather jacket. They both smiled and waved. I nodded in acknowledgement, feeling a weight lift off my chest. The haunting memories of Route 66 will always remain with me, a grim reminder of the darkness that lurked in that suburb's past. But there's also a sense of peace now, knowing that the lost souls have finally found their way home. Story number 2. Rest Stop Whispers, The Shadows of Mile 19. In 2002, I was a fresh college graduate with dreams of becoming a filmmaker. My friends Lily, a sound engineer, and Eli, a skilled cinematographer, and I decided to create a documentary series on urban legends. Little did we know, our first project would drag us into an abyss of unspeakable horror. We had heard tales about a rest stop on mile 19, just on the outskirts of a small American suburb. Truckers often stopped there, but not without sharing chilling anecdotes. They spoke of whispered conversations that came from nowhere and eerie apparitions seen through foggy windows. The local legend was that a trucker named Jeremiah had met a tragic end at that very rest stop. Those who dared spend the night there reported seeing a ghostly figure resembling Jeremiah, wandering around, desperately trying to communicate something. When we arrived at the rest stop, it seemed quite ordinary. A rundown gas station, a diner with peeling paint, and a few scattered benches. Our plan was to spend a few nights there, capturing whatever we could. The first night was uneventful. But on the second, as I lay in the back of our van, I heard it. A faint whisper saying, "Beware the circle." Thinking it was a prank by Eli or Lily, I brushed it off. However, the next morning, Lily played a recording she captured, the same chilling warning. Curiosity piqued, we started talking to some of the locals. That's when we met Haley, a young woman in her 20s who worked at the diner. She told us about the Circle of Zephyrus, a cult that was rumored to have been active around the area in the 1980s. They were obsessed with the occult, conducting rituals and seeking otherworldly powers. Their base of operations? The very rest stop we were investigating. We discovered an old, forgotten basement under the diner. Venturing down, we found remnants of the cult's activities. Symbols painted on the walls, burnt candles, and a diary. It belonged to a young woman named Clara, who was barely 18 when she was initiated into the cult. The entries described ceremonies where members would try to summon demonic entities, offering sacrifices for power and fortune. However, a particular entry dated August 6, 1981, stood out. Clara wrote about a trucker they had chosen as a sacrifice. His name? Jeremiah. They believed his spirit would serve as a bridge between the worlds, allowing them direct communication with the underworld. We decided to conduct a seance, hoping to contact Jeremiah. With Haley's help, we set up in the basement. As the candles flickered, we felt a cold gust of wind. The whispered warnings became louder, forming coherent sentences. Jeremiah's spirit revealed the true horror of that night. He had resisted the ritual, leading to a struggle and his accidental death. But as he perished, he cursed the Circle of Zephyrus, vowing to haunt the rest stop until every member faced justice. Over the next few days, using Clara's diary, we were able to track down surviving members of the cult. Many had since left the town, consumed by guilt. The police reopened the investigation into Jeremiah's death, leading to several arrests. The rest stop still stands, but the sinister whispers have ceased. Yet, truckers occasionally report seeing a friendly phantom, giving them a nod of approval. It seems Jeremiah, now free from his chains, still watches over mile 19. The experience changed us profoundly. While we set out looking for tales to chill the bone, we found a story of redemption and justice. The shadows of mile 19 are a testament to the past's ability to haunt the present, but also to the resilience of spirits seeking nothing but peace. Story number 3. The Never-Ending Road, Echoes of County Line. 2003 was supposed to be a year of beginnings for me. Fresh out of college, I joined a local television network as an investigative journalist. My friends, Jenna, an anthropologist with a love for urban legends, and Mike, a tech, was always ready with his gadgets, often collaborated on my projects. Our lives took a dark turn when we decided to investigate the legends surrounding County Line Road. It all began when we interviewed Zach, a young trucker who narrated his harrowing experience. He had taken County Line Road as a shortcut, but ours turned into an endless loop, passing the same dilapidated barn, a tree with a twisted trunk, and a pond reflecting the moon, no matter how far he drove. The ghostly figure of a woman in a white dress often appeared in his rearview mirror, her hollow eyes always watching him. Determined to uncover the truth behind this looping road, we camped at the start of County Line. Mike set up cameras, capturing every angle of the highway. Jenna, with her extensive knowledge, spoke of similar legends worldwide, but none as detailed as this. That night, I decided to drive down County Line myself. As predicted, the road looped. The barn, the tree, and the moonlit pond became an eerie refrain, but what chilled me to the bone was the ghostly woman. She'd appear in my rear view, her sorrowful gaze never leaving mine. Hours seemed like minutes, and just when I thought I'd be trapped forever, dawn broke, and the looping ceased. I found myself at the end of the highway, a mere 30 miles from where I had started. But the odometer told a different story. I had driven 572 miles. Digging into the history of the area, Jenna uncovered a tragic tale from the 1970s about a cult named the Moonlit Path. Led by a charismatic leader named Damien, they believed in achieving immortality by harnessing the power of trapped souls. As the story went, they kidnapped a young woman named Amelia and performed a ritual on County Line Road. However, Amelia's strong spirit resisted, causing the ritual to backfire. Damien and his followers were consumed by the very forces they sought to control, while Amelia's spirit was trapped in an endless loop on the road. Realizing we needed to break this cycle, we consulted a local priest known for his experience with exorcisms. Father Lucas agreed to help, sensing the urgency and danger of the situation. On a moonless night, with Amelia's frequent apparitions as our guide, we began the ritual. As Father Lucas chanted, the road itself seemed to react. Shadows danced, the wind howled, and the very ground beneath us shook. The spirit of Damien emerged, furious at our audacity, trying to break the exorcism. But Amelia wasn't alone. The trapped souls of the Moonlit Path, now freed from Damien's control, rallied around her. A fierce battle of wills ensued, with the spirits finally overpowering Damien, dragging him into the depths of darkness. As dawn approached, County Line Road was calm again. Amelia, in a brief but peaceful appearance, smiled at us, mouthing a silent thank you before vanishing. The looping phenomenon of County Line Road ceased from that day. However, the haunting memories remain. The road stands as a testament to man's folly when trying to control forces beyond understanding. While the echoes of County Line still reverberate in our minds, it's a chilling reminder that some paths are not meant to be tread upon, and some shortcuts come at a price too terrifying to pay. Story number 4. The Time Loop Tunnel, a journey through the echoes of infinity. In 2004, I embarked on the most terrifying adventure of my life. My college friends, Max, a history enthusiast, and Ava, a physics major with a penchant for the bizarre, teamed up with me. We had been keen on debunking urban legends. But this time, we stumbled upon a tale that was beyond belief. I first heard of the Time Loop Tunnel from a young trucker named Ben. He narrated an unbelievable tale of driving through a tunnel in our suburb and emerging into a world from decades past. On subsequent trips, he claimed to have visited various time periods, from the roaring 20s to the tumultuous 60s, always seeking a way back home. Intrigued, the three of us set out to explore the tunnel one evening. Armed with Max's knowledge of history, Ava's scientific equipment, and my journalistic curiosity, we drove in, not knowing the whirlwind of horrors awaiting us. Emerging from the other side, we found ourselves in what looked like the 1950s. Vintage cars, women in poodle skirts, and the distant strains of Elvis Presley playing on the radio. Before we could gather our bearings, a group of people approached us, their eyes hollow, their faces contorted with anger. They were the spirits of those who had been trapped in the tunnel's loops, cursed to relive their chosen time period forever. Among them was a menacing figure, Cyrus, a devil worshipper from the 1700s, who revealed that he had created the time loop as a way to achieve immortality. Max, always the historian, recalled tales of a powerful priestess from the 1800s, Sister Agatha, renowned for her exorcism skills. If we could find her in one of our loops, she might be our ticket out. As we journeyed through time, navigating the challenges of each era, we encountered Sister Agatha. Explaining our predicament, she agreed to help. Using her skills, she summoned the trapped spirits, challenging Cyrus's dominion. A fierce spiritual battle ensued. The tunnel became a vortex of swirling energy, the boundaries of time blurring. Ava's equipment went haywire, indicating fluctuations in the very fabric of time. In the end, Sister Agatha's power overwhelmed Cyrus, breaking the loop he had created. As the dust settled, we found ourselves back in 2004. The tunnel was now just a tunnel. The tormented spirits had found their rest, and the time loops were no more. The three of us vowed never to speak of our experience, lest curiosity lead others down the same treacherous path. But the memories of our journey through time still haunt our dreams. The time loop tunnel taught us the perils of messing with the natural order. In our quest for immortality, understanding, or mere adventure, we sometimes unleash forces that are better left untouched. The echoes of infinity are best left unheard. Story number 5. Silent Town Deliveries, Whispers of Elm Hollow. Back in 2005, my world was turned upside down, dragging me into the heart of a supernatural enigma. My name is Ryan, and I was a budding journalist back then. Teaming up with my college friends, Lisa, a fervent researcher, and Danny, an adventurous filmmaker, we decided to explore the mysteries surrounding Elm Hollow after hearing a peculiar tale from a young trucker named Ethan. Ethan's new delivery route required him to frequently visit Elm Hollow. Every time he entered, the town appeared trapped in a bygone era, with no modern amenities in sight. Residents wore old-fashioned clothes, and their faces held a permanent look of dread. They always warned him, "Leave before the sun dips below the horizon." Curiosity piqued, we decided to spend a night in Elm Hollow. Upon arrival, we were greeted with cold stares and hushed whispers. Determined to uncover the truth, Lisa began researching the town's archives while Danny and I interviewed its residents. We found out that Elm Hollow was plagued by a series of unexplained deaths in the 1920s. Every night, an ominous fog enveloped the town, and with it came sinister shadows that claimed the souls of the living. Legend spoke of a devil worshipper named Mordecai who, in a bid for eternal power, had cursed Elm Hollow to relive that fateful decade over and over. As night approached, the fog began its crawl, and the town's warning became crystal clear. Eerie apparitions emerged, reaching out with skeletal hands, their whispers echoing tales of doom. At the town center, Mordecai's spirit appeared, reveling in the chaos. Desperate to break the cycle, Lisa discovered that Mordecai's power was tied to a talisman he'd buried in the heart of Elm Hollow. We, along with Ethan, decided to find and destroy it. Guided by the friendly spirit of a young girl named Abigail, who had been one of Mordecai's first victims, we navigated the fog-filled streets, evading the lurking shadows. Reaching the burial spot, we unearthed the talisman, a sinister-looking amulet pulsating with dark energy. Lisa, having found an old ritual to neutralize such cursed objects, began chanting. The ground shook, the apparition screamed, and Mordecai's enraged spirit lunged at us. The climax was a whirlwind of light and shadow, with Abigail's spirit shielding us. As Lisa's chanting reached a crescendo, the amulet shattered, releasing a blinding light. Mordecai's reign of terror was obliterated. When the dawn broke, Elm Hollow was transformed. Modern cars lined the streets, and the residents, free from the time loop, greeted the new day with tears of joy. Our experience in Elm Hollow remains the most chilling chapter of our lives. We learned that some places, no matter how quaint, hold secrets that are best left undiscovered. But for those trapped in such horrors, sometimes it takes a brave soul to shine a light into the darkest corners of the past. Story number 6. The Fading Passenger, Echoes from Mile Marker 66. In 2006, I uncovered a chilling tale that forever changed my perspective on the open road. My name's Alex, and back then, I was an avid podcaster eager to unravel the mysteries of everyday life. Sarah, a tech whiz, and Jared, an anthropology grad, were my trusty companions in our shared quest for the unknown. Our adventures were many, but none as eerie as the story of the Fading Passenger. It all began when we interviewed Kyle, a trucker in his late 20s. He recounted a journey where he had picked up a co-driver named Eli for a long haul. As the miles rolled on, Eli became increasingly transparent, his features blurring with the passing landscape. Eli shared a haunting tale of a crash he'd been in a year prior on this very route, near mile marker 66. Before vanishing entirely, his last words were a plea: "Tell my story. Free me." Determined to unearth the truth, we embarked on a road trip, retracing Kyle's route. Sarah's equipment captured unusual electromagnetic disturbances as we neared mile marker 66. Pulling over, we discovered an old, worn memorial, a tribute to a trucker who had died there a year ago. The name on it was Eli. Jared's anthropology background led him to believe that some spirits remain tethered to our realm due to unresolved trauma or messages. We decided to perform a ritual to communicate with Eli. With Sarah's tech gear and a medium named Mia, we attempted to bridge the gap between our world and the unknown. In the eerie silence of the night, Eli's spectral form appeared, shimmering with an otherworldly glow. He spoke of a devil-worshipping cult, led by a sinister figure named Lazarus. They had caused his fatal accident as a sacrifice to gain dark powers. Eli's soul, tormented and trapped, was doomed to forever haunt the highway. The key to breaking his shackles, Eli whispered, was to expose the cult and ensure his tale was known. Guided by his spectral clues, we unraveled the horrifying reality of the cult's activities in a nearby abandoned barn. Sarah, with her tech genius, managed to capture irrefutable evidence of their rituals. Confronting the cult was the most harrowing experience of our lives. We were outmatched, outnumbered, and enveloped by an oppressive dark energy. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, Eli's spirit intervened, using his lingering energy to scatter the cultists and lead us to safety. With the evidence Sarah captured, local law enforcement disbanded the cult. We dedicated an entire podcast episode to Eli's story, ensuring his tale reached thousands. A year later, revisiting mile marker 66, all was calm. No electromagnetic disturbances, no spectral apparitions. Just a quiet road under a serene sky. The Fading Passenger remains our most haunting encounter. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes, the weight of unresolved stories binds spirits to our world, and it's up to the living to ensure they find their peace. Story number 7. The Forbidden Forest Route, Echoes of Timber Trail. In 2007, the dark canopy of Timber Trail lured me into its sinister embrace. My name is Owen, and as an enthusiastic urban explorer, there was no corner too remote for me to unravel. Tagging along were my college buddies, Natalie, a passionate historian, and Jake, an aspiring paranormal investigator. Our unquenchable thirst for mysteries led us to the tales of the Forbidden Forest Route. It all began when we interviewed Mark, a seasoned trucker with decades on the road. He spun tales of a forested route, shrouded in mist and malevolence, that many truckers avoided. Intrigued, Mark once took the route, only to stumble upon rusted remnants of old trucks and a warning sign from the 1950s that read, "Turn back now." He awaits. Determined to unearth Timber Trail's secrets, we embarked on a journey into its shadowy heart. As our vehicle sliced through the dense foliage, Natalie discovered through old records that Timber Trail was once a booming route in the 50s, until truckers began disappearing. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jake's equipment picked up unusual energy spikes. Following these readings, we discovered a clearing that was unnaturally silent. In its center stood an old, gnarled tree with the remnants of trucks encircling it. Disturbingly, these relics seemed to be arranged in some ritualistic pattern. Natalie's research hinted at a cult from the 50s led by a deranged leader named Reverend Cain. They believed in harnessing the souls of travelers to appease an ancient forest deity. This deity, the tales whispered, had been angered by the intrusion of man into its dominion. Gathering our courage, we decided to perform a seance, hoping to communicate with the trapped spirits. As the wind howled, spectral apparitions of truckers from bygone eras emerged, recounting tales of deceit, betrayal, and sacrifice. The spirit of a young trucker named Samuel revealed that Reverend Cain, seeking immortality, had bound their souls to the tree, using their life force to extend his own lifespan. To free them, we'd have to destroy the cursed tree, which held Cain's essence. With the guidance of the spirits and the tools we'd brought, we set out to fell the tree. However, as our first axe struck its base, the forest came alive. Shadows writhed, and Reverend Cain's menacing spirit appeared, his form dark and distorted, lashing out to protect his source of power. But as we pressed on, the trapped spirits rallied around us, their combined force holding back Cain's onslaught. With a final, resonant crash, the tree fell, releasing a blinding light that consumed the clearing. When our vision cleared, Timber Trail was transformed. The eerie silence was replaced by the gentle sounds of nature. The relics of trucks had vanished, replaced by blooming flora. Our experience on Timber Trail remains an indelible scar on our memories. We learned that places, scarred by malevolence, can trap souls in an endless loop of torment. But sometimes, with bravery and resolve, the living can rewrite the tragedies of the past. Story number 8. The Shadowed Overpass, Echoes of the Red Scarf. The year a mountain pass in a remote suburb sealed itself in my memory forever. My name is Lisa, and I've been on the road for years. However, the mysteries of the mountain pass are tales I still struggle to comprehend. It was a brisk autumn evening when it happened. I was on my usual route, driving my rig through the winding roads of the pass. As I approached the old overpass, the twilight air grew chillingly cold. It was then that I spotted her, a shadowy figure standing atop the overpass, holding a deep red scarf that fluttered wildly in the wind. Before I could react, she let the scarf drop right in front of my truck. Startled, I swerved, narrowly avoiding a crash. Shaken, I continued on, trying to dismiss the event as a trick of the mind. But the red scarf, which I had picked up, was tangible proof that something inexplicable had occurred. At a nearby diner, I met Alex, a local journalist, and Clara, a young woman researching regional ghost stories. Intrigued by my tale, Alex shared that the overpass was the site of a deadly crash decades ago involving a young woman and her scarlet scarf. Clara mentioned a local legend: the woman, seeking to make amends for a tragedy she felt responsible for, often lured truckers to aid her restless spirit. Feeling an uncanny connection, I decided to return to the overpass that night, hoping to encounter the shadowy figure again. Alex and Clara, sensing a potential story, decided to accompany me. As we approached, the silhouette appeared once more. Tentatively, I offered her a ride, seeking to help her find peace. She nodded, her hollow eyes glistening with tears. The drive that followed was a haunting journey through time. The specter, who introduced herself as Eliza, narrated her tale from the 70s. Her beloved, Daniel, was a trucker. One fateful night, as they were meeting on the overpass, her scarf got caught in the wheels of an oncoming truck, causing a disastrous accident that claimed both their lives. Guilt-ridden for causing Daniel's death, her spirit remained tethered. Eliza's sole desire was to reunite with Daniel and cross over. Clara, having some knowledge of rituals, suggested conducting a seance to call upon Daniel's spirit. On the overpass, amidst a circle of candles, Clara began the ritual. Soon, a soft light emerged, and another shadowy figure materialized. It was Daniel. The reunion was heartrending, as the two spirits clung to each other. In gratitude, Eliza handed me her red scarf, urging me to keep it as a token. The two spirits, holding hands, then gradually faded into the ether. The events of that night transformed our lives. Alex penned a compelling article, and Clara's belief in the supernatural deepened. As for me, the red scarf still graces my truck's dashboard, a poignant reminder of love, tragedy, and the mysteries the road unveils. Story number 9. Whispers at Lot 13, the Benevolent Spectre. I'll never forget that year, particularly one chilly November evening that forever changed my perspective on life, death, and the gray in-between. I'm Carlos, a trucker, and this is my recollection of that inexplicable night. It was late when I pulled into the truck stop. Most lots were full, but I noticed Lot 13 was eerily vacant. I'd heard rumors about it, tales of truckers waking up to whispered warnings and icy touches. But I was a skeptic, and a parking spot was a parking spot. So, I parked, chuckled at my own bravado, and drifted to sleep. But a few hours into my slumber, a voice stirred me awake. It wasn't just a whisper, it was clear and deliberate. Avoid the Greenbrook Bridge on Route 22, it cautioned. I shot up, scanning the cab with my flashlight, but found no one. The voice continued, it won't hold. Trust me. The urgency in the tone was palpable. Confused and slightly unnerved, I decided to heed the warning and mapped an alternate route. As dawn broke and I continued my journey, news trickled in on the radio. The Greenbrook Bridge on Route 22 had collapsed. The chilling realization hit me. Had I taken my original route, I'd have been on that bridge. Desperate to understand, I returned to the truck stop that evening and met Sarah, a local journalist, and Jake, a paranormal enthusiast. They'd caught wind of my experience and wanted to delve deeper. Sarah uncovered that a decade ago, a trucker named Liam met his untimely end on the Greenbrook Bridge. His truck had plunged into the waters below, and his body was never recovered. Jake speculated that Liam's spirit lingered, trying to prevent others from meeting the same fate. Wanting to express my gratitude, Jake suggested a seance. In the dead of night, with the help of a medium named Mia, we reached out to Liam. The air grew cold, and once more, I heard that voice. Liam expressed his happiness that I heeded his warning. He shared his tragic story, how he wished someone had been there to warn him, and so he took it upon himself to guide others away from the same fate. As the seance concluded, Mia explained that spirits sometimes remain bound to our realm due to unresolved matters. Liam's was a tale of tragedy, but also of redemption. Today, as I journey through the vast roads of the U.S., I wear a pendant with the initials LP for Liam Parker, a constant reminder that even in the darkest corners, sometimes, there are spirits that seek not to harm, but to save. Lot 13 is no longer just a legend to me, it's a beacon of hope and a testament to the benevolence that persists even beyond death.